Oh, Electric Avenus with the win. Tito Santana will hold on for first. Right, the win, the drive for 5. Burns Wish is the 2020 Golden Boy. Your nose will hold on.
It's a 16 buff in the dog. It's a 16
All right, welcome back to episode 11. Took a little bit of a break. Episode 11 of Tips from Trey. It's called Western Canada Harness Racing Show, but we're going to probably focus only on Manitoba this week, the only track that really matters to me anyway. So that's what we're going to talk about later in the show. I talk about the pick 6 with I'm going to screw up his name, Grady Hashi from New Brunswick and Cameron Roberts from down in Virginia. I'm real quick just going to go over all the races real quick in form here. Races 1 through 9, just my top 3 selections from each. And then later we're going to talk about the pick 6 with my 2 colleagues. Pretty excited. So real quick, post time, 3 p.m. Central Time on Saturday. We go every Saturday from now until the end of August. Saturday, HPI bet, 3 p.m. Central. 4 Eastern, 3 Central. If you can't bet on HPI because you're out of country, everyone in Canada should be fine. But you can always watch on our YouTube, Manitoba Harness Racing YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter at TreyMB Harness. You can follow Manitoba Harness on Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. I got a TikTok going. We got it all locked in. I'm pretty excited. So we're going to start race number 1. It's a claiming race. Oh boy, I love it. I'm going to take race number 1, claiming 3,500, 4,500, or 5,500. I'm going to take the 4, read the proposal. Glenn LeDrew in the bike. Trevor Williams training 50%. Trevor Williams had last year, as a trainer, 50% win percentage. 50% win percentage. I read the proposal. Last time out, he raced at Fraser back in April. He got 5th, but guess what? Who he lost to? He lost to my boy Tito Santana, and Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear, but mostly Tito Santana. So this horse, I'm going to take number 4 to get first in this one, and number 1 for second. Next thing, Smokin'. Kevin Hildebrandt owns, trains, and drives. Part owned by Errol Voden out of Verdun, Manitoba. Kentucky bred, but I'm going to take this one. Had a bad start to finish the year last year, but otherwise had a pretty good go in the claiming handicaps. I'm going to take next thing, Smokin' for second, and for third, number 2, great quote, Michelle Ray. Got a win last time out last year. Big bit of a layoff for number 1 and number 2, where a couple of these other horses have been racing over the winter. So for sure, I'm going to take in race number 1, take the 4, the 1, and the 2 to start off our 2021 season. Jump to race number 2. I like the 6, Farmer Strikes Fame. Trevor Williams trained again. Glenn LeDrew coming back in the bike. I think he's going to get the daily double there. Glenn LeDrew, easily daily double to start the season. And for second, I'm going to like the 4, State Your Case. George has been in the bike. Tara owned it. Tara and Garrett owned. Tara trains. Got a qualifier at 206 and 1, 31 second flat, closing quarter in that to round out this one. Thanks for the memories. Number 2, Fallout Girl. Mark Filion own, trains, and drives. This 2-year-old filly, Fallout Girl. 207 and 4, finished second in the qualifier, 31 second flat, closing quarter. So in race number 2, take the 6, the 4, and the 2. Love it. Good time. And race number 3, this is an open pace. This starts our pick 6, which I talk about later with Cameron and Grady. But in this race number 3, take the 3, Baylor Out. Mark Filion owns, trains, and drives, and bred this beauty, 8-year-old gelding. Got the qualifier in 202 and 1. Spent some time out in Alberta. Track on 2. Century Downs got the win on a sloppy track. back last year. I think Baylor Route will win this one handily. And for second, take the one, Liz placed. Trevor Williams trained, Glenn LeDrew. Glenn could easily go for the triple to start the year. And for second, take the 4, don't rock the boat. Kevin Hildebrandt owns, trains, and drives this one. Spent some time in Fraser, spent some time in Century. So I like that one. In this race number 3, 3, 1, and 4. Jump to race number 4. Non-winners, maidens. Billy's American maidens. I like the 5. Send me a tweet. Dawn Howlett drives. Qualified 204 and 3, 31 flat closing quarter. For second, I like the 6 Philly, 3-year-old Philly. Trevor Williams owns trains. Glenn LeDrew in the bike. Take the 6 for second. And number 7, Ollie M for third. Kevin Hildebrandt owns, trains, and drives this one. The most seasoned out of all the horses in this maidens. 18-0. 1/3 though. 1/3. Best finish so far, but other horses have had a start. So we'll see how she goes. So in this one, I go take the 5, 6, and 7. My triactor here. As we've done 4 races, just a quick reminder, post time, 3 p.m. on Saturday on HBIBet.com. If you are listening to this south of the border, unfortunately, you won't be able to bet on it. But you can watch on YouTube, on our YouTube channel at Manitoba Harness Racing. Follow me at Trey MB Harness on Twitter. Follow at Manitoba Harness Racing on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook, Manitoba Harness Racing. There's also a Facebook page, Manitoba Harness Racing Fans Handicap Contest on Facebook. I believe the deets get dropped on Wednesday or Thursday. Can also check us on Instagram and on TikTok, Manitoba Harness Racing. So we're through 4 races. Race number 5. This is the start of the pick 4. And we're still going on that pick 6. Reminder, we'll talk about the pick 6 later with my colleagues Cam and Grady. So race number 5, take the 4, Serial Killer. But note how it's spelled. Serial Killer qualified 207, 29 and 3 closing quarter. Don Howlett in the bike. He had a 50% win percent or 48% win percentage last year as a driver. So, keep him in mind. For second, I like the 7, Jim Strikes It Rich. Had some decent time there out in Century in that one race in the maidens. We talked to Cam later about this one. He likes this one. So keep that in mind when you're looking at the 7. Cam likes the 7 in race number 5. Really much so. But also for third to round it out, I like the 5, Cam and Get Me. Qualified 209, not the greatest of qualifiers, but lost to some top horses, lost to Baylor Out, lost to Flaming Blue Star and Golden Sporty, and some of those are the best horses on the track. So I think this horse will finish for third. So in race number 5, 4, 7, and 5. And we jump to race number 6. And this one I like number 4, Zippity Zoom. Tara Isman owns, trains. George Isman drives. Spent, last 6 races. Oh, I read that wrong later. Anyway, I read that wrong later. But anyway, spent some good times, has some top finishes out in Century. Got a second by a neck last time. Got some wins, got some seconds, got some good times out in Century. So I like the 4, Zippity Zoom. And for second, I like the 3, Colonel Kelly. Again, spent some time out in Century and Century Mile and Century Downs. Spent around that 2-minute mark. I think pretty good times there. I think Clayton should have this gelding going good. And for third, I like the 2, Millie's Million. 3-year-old filly. Don't be, won the maiden handicap, but don't be too fooled by those wins in the juvenile and the kindergarten. There's only 2 horses going in those, but still had some decent times. Had a good strong qualifier, 203 and 3. Lost to Liz Place and Dull Little Beast, 2 top horses on this track again. So in this one, I like this, the 4, the 3, and the 2 in race number 6. In race number 7, I'm going to take the 6, Buck Rogers on the outside. Trevor Williams. This could be where he gets his first career win, I think. Buck Rogers, post number 6. But who's going to give him a little bit of trouble? Number 1, 8K up and at him on the inside. Post number 1, Tyler Grundy. Qualified 207 and 3, but could just have a good inside post. A lot of these horses have none of these horses have ever raced before. All just got their first qualifier this past 2 weeks ago. So I like number 1 for second, but for third, Al's Dragon Jack. Number 3, Mark Villion, trains and drives. This horse got 206 and 1. Definitely could be one that could get you a little bit of value in this one. So in race number 7, I like 6, 1, and 3. Race number 8, take the 1, Flaming Blue Star. Christopher Brown, his only horse he's got trained and driven in this week. Flaming Blue Star. I think this one's going to go wire to wire. And it's not even considered a mutual favorite, but watch this one get this wire to wire. Race number 8, post number 1, Flaming Blue Star. For second, take the 2, Bold and Sporty, Glenn LeDrew. I think it's going to go Flaming Blue Star, Bold and Sporty, and that's just how they're going to finish. And for third, I'm going to put the 4, Da Little Beast with Michelle Ray. One is qualifier in 203 and 2, 31 and 1 closing quarter. We talk about a lot of these races again in our pick 6, but these are just my top 3. And race number 9, I like number 1. Number 1. We didn't get to talk about this in the pick 6. Number 1, Electric Amadeus. This horse. This horse gives me headaches. This horse gives me stress. So in the 3 races it had last year, I don't remember what it did in the final one in September 12th there, but I remember its first race, it broke, and it was far back, and it got second by a head. Just lost out. Had to qualify again. And then after that, got a win by a head. And the only time I've ever seen a horse have to qualify after that. This is going to be a crazy heavy favorite, I bet. It was about 15 lengths back, and it got the win. And 206 and 1, 29 and 4 closing quarter. So watch that one to win this one. And number 2 for second, 2 Shoes. Change of ownership from last year to Dennis. I always butcher his last name, so I'm just going to say sorry now. Mark Villion in the bike. Michelle Ray had it all last year. I think the ownership, change of trainer and ownership could be, we'll see what it does. But I have it for second. And for third, Woodstock Huey, Corey Manning. Got Daryl Mason in the bike today as he goes in a different, he takes the 1, sorry. And yeah, Daryl Mason gets the 3. So I think that's kind of telling where Corey has his priorities, and Daryl will take the 3 Woodstock Huey. So in this one, I have the 1, 2, and the 3. Going to be a great day. Great day, opening day at Miami Fair. So make sure, again, 3 p.m. post time. I talked to Cameron and Grady, and just after our break, we go over the pick 6. Pick 6 goes race 3 through 8. And yeah, make sure to keep it locked in here. Tips from Trey. All right, we're back, and I got my 2 colleagues here joining me. We got Cameron there on the bottom of CDR Racing, and on the top corner, we got Grady Hatchie. That's how you say it, right? Hatchie?
It's Hashi.
Hashi, sorry.
Sorry, it's all right.
And he's the host of his own podcast, Racing Around the Maritimes, which I've given a good listen to that. You got some good in-depth. Usually do Charlottetown and New Brunswick, right? Exhibition.
Yeah, and Truro as well, now that they've started up again.
All right, we're going to look at the pick 6 at Manitoba Racing or Miami Fair. That's what it'll be on HPI. We're going to kick it off at race number 3. You know what, Grady, you kick us off as the young buck. Who do you like in race number 3?
I like the 2, Sanga Savannah.
I like the 2.
Yeah, it other than not having a qualifier, it looks like it raced the Open a lot last year, and had a win there in 2 minutes, 4 down last year. So it looks like it's quite familiar with the class, and like with the good post with post 2 should be able to get near the front and do some work near the front, and I think it will get the win.
Alrighty, Cameron, what about you, man?
Yeah, I mean, I like where he's going with the 2. The horse was running in opens last year, which is always a good sign. I don't see any other horses that were really running against opens. Maybe the 3 makes a bit of sense. I hate to say it, but this looks like this would be a chalky leg. I could see it. I'm going to go with the 3 as my top pick just because I like I like the idea this horse has a qualifier. And when was that? Oh, I guess that was last June. So I don't even know. That's not even this June. So
Baylor out. That was just 2 weeks ago.
That was just 2 weeks ago. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd probably take a shot with this horse then. Won the qualifier convincingly, 2:02. Nothing crazy. The back half was okay. 31 seconds from the half to the 3/4 about, and 30 seconds to close it. So it seems like the 3 or 2, but probably 3 for me, top pick, just so I'm not tailing Grady too hard here.
Yeah, I took the 3 as well, and maybe this is just my benefit of being from here, but the rumor is Baylor out, probably the best horse ever bred in Manitoba. So
really,
yeah, just take that from what the rumors is, and now it's hitting 8. It's not the oldest in the bunch. I took the 3. That's what I'm hearing is it's one of the best horses to ever come out of the province. I also like the 1, Liz Placed. I think I mentioned to both of you, you always got to watch Trevor Williams as the trainer. He had like a 50% win percentage as a trainer last year, which anywhere that's insane. And then he's got a driver coming out of retirement in Glenn LeDrew, which I don't have his stats in front of me, but as a kid, I remember him always winning too. So I'm going to put the 3 in the 1, just in case whoever told me the 3 is completely out, is insane, is wrong. So I got the 3 in the 1. So yeah, Grady had the 1. I was going to write these down. Whatever. Yeah, we'll go to race number 4. Grady, kick it off.
I like the 5. Send me a tweet. You mentioned earlier Donald Howlett was the best driver out there. So I thought that maybe with the 1 that looks like showed probably the best qualifier in a young group of horses, it was either the 5 or the 7, because the 7 looks like it has a lot of experience compared to the other ones who only have 1 qualifier under their belt. But I thought that with the trailing post behind a bunch of young horses, the 7 might run into some traffic trouble. So I did like the 5 because it looked like it showed a pretty decent qualifier and has the best driver.
All right, yeah. Cameron, what are you going to add on to that?
So I'm going to go with a bit of a price, or someone who should be a bit of a price, because you look at these fillies, I can automatically throw the 1 and 2 out, the 2-year-olds. It's going to be tough for them. They're clearly not going to be developed to the same level as these 3-year-olds have been. The 7, I'm going to toss out 0 for 18. I have a hard time thinking that changes. Send me a tweet's the obvious choice with the qualifier, but the qualifier that I like the most out of all these that I think has some potential might be to the 3, having fun in the sun. I like the breeding. I like her. She's out of Sunshine Beach, and the dam's out of Pro Bono Best. And you know what? 2:07, yes, it's 3 seconds slower than what the 5 went in, and the 5's qualifier was fantastic. But there's just something about the way that this horse was able to, they cut a slow opening quarter, a slow half, but it still came home in 31, which is what the 5 came home in. The 6 came home in 29, shows a really sharp final quarter, but good post draw. half mile track. I think the 3 maybe maybe there's something with this horse. A little bit of a price, but we'll try it just off the breeding, I think.
Well, yeah, when all these horses haven't raced much, you sometimes have to go off of that. I take the 5 as well. Send me a tweet. But I also like the 6, Philly. God, this guy knows how to name his horses. He has another one named Horse. So I'm going to take Philly because, I liked its qualifier last week in 2:03, 29-2 closing. And like I said, Trevor Williams trainer for the same reason, Dawn and Glenn are just going to compete, and they each can easily win 4 or 5 races each on opening day. So I'm going to take 5 and 6 in race number 4. Jump to race number 5. This also starts our pick 4. But Grady, who do you like?
I like the 4, I think. Serial Killer, another one driven by Donald Howlett. Shows a qualifier there in 2:7, 29-3. Decent post to work with. I just think that maybe even though it only has that one qualifier and hasn't started at all, but it looks like the other ones really only have qualifiers too. So I thought that maybe the 4 had the best, most recent qualifier. So with the best driver, not knowing much about the track, I gave a shot with that one.
Yeah. All right. Now, Cameron, what do you have to add on to that?
I really like, it's probably going to be the favorite, I would imagine, or at least one of the favorites, but Jim Strikes It Rich, the 7. I like this horse. You did say 7 draws second tier, correct? So it's going to be starting behind the 1. Bit of a concern because the 1's probably not going to have a lot of speed, but 1 race under his belt. He's another Sunshine Beach, but I love the Dam is out of Dragon again. I just spent $12,500 on the Dragon again that I love very much, and that I have high hopes for at Hawthorne on Friday night. So I think that this distant cousin or distant relative of Black Titanium does pretty good here. I think this horse, sorry, I'm going to give an excuse. Here's the one thing I noticed. Had a 1 start as a 2-year-old, and October is a really weird time to start a 2-year-old for me. Maybe this horse wasn't ready and not mature enough. They try it late in the year. I think that there's a lot to be said there. Maybe this horse just needed another year to kind of grow. Nice qualifier, 2:05. Came home in 30 seconds. Not bad. This is the one I think that can score. I wouldn't be surprised with Grady's pick of the 4, Serial Killer. Very nice horse, but there's something about this. I love seeing a horse with at least a little bit of experience. So 7 for me all day here. I think this one scores.
Yeah, I took the 4 as well, but I do see where you're coming from with the 7. I just like the 4 again. Don, I think I told you guys 48% winning percentage last year. That's insane at any track when 48% of your starts are wins. And him and Mark Filion teamed up a bunch of their horses this year, and Mark's the guy that has that Baylor out. So I think that he's got all of his barn running pretty good. And with Don in the bike, I think 4, will be the heavy favorite. And of course, 7 might get a price. So I might actually put the 7 in there now, just because every time I talk to you, Cam, you always convince me out of the horse I had.
I'm good at doing that.
But then, anyway, race number 6. Grady, buddy, who do you got?
I'm looking at maybe a bit of a long shot, just a slight long shot, and that's the 2 Millie's Million. Looks like it showed some races last year in, I think, stake races or something.
Those are the 2-year-olds, but just be careful. They only had 2 horses in them.
Okay.
So
yeah, but shows really like not out of the top 3 once in her career, and I'm not sure how many horses she was racing against, as you mentioned those races before.
In the Philly and Maidens, there would have been more. Just the 2 kindergarten stakes. Yeah.
If you look at the qualifier there, last week was 3rd in 2, 3, and 3. To one horse that was the second place finisher is in the Open this week, so looks like qualified pretty well and gets. So I like that one at a slight long shot.
Can't argue with you there. Cameron, who do you got?
I'm going to take a shot with a little bit of a price as well here. I like the one. Get It Done Bud, 4-year-old. Not huge on the breeding side of things with this one, but I do like that this horse has had probably not necessarily tough luck on draws, but you see one time got the rail, ran second, beaten 14 lengths. Not a bad mile out of that one back, I guess that was last August. Other than that, I mean, a lot of 4 holes, a 6, an 8. I mean, he's had some tough draws. So I think with the rail, they take advantage. I think, honestly, the 2, I love Grady's pick of the 2. 3 starts, 5 wins. Albeit, like you said, she ran against, some small fields. But I think the important thing to notice here, guys, and one of my favorite angles, doesn't matter if it's thoroughbreds or harness. I love anytime I see a filly up against a group of boys that's going to be taking money. I love going to the boys. And anytime I see 3-year-olds that are going to be taking a little money going up against the boys. So I would look to the 1 here. 3 is probably going to be the favorite. I mean, I'd imagine, but I just can't get to that horse. The qualifiers are lackluster. I mean, they're good times, but very well beaten, kind of suck along qualifiers. And I just think this is one of the weaker horses out there. And that's just where I'm at. I'm going to take a shot with the 1. Would not be surprised if he's able to get it done from the rail.
Oh, yeah, makes sense. And then, Corey Manning, the driver there, he's kind of the shit disturber driver. So when he's got the inside post, he'll probably make everyone else work for it. However, I am going to go with the chalk. I'm going to go with the program favorite, number 4, Zippity Zoom. Last 6 starts, I know it was ended last year, but over at Century Downs, 3 wins in 3 seconds at a pretty top track. And that's coming back to Manitoba. The Ismans always seem to have good horses too. But I do agree with the 2 and the 1. If I get beat by those 2 horses, I won't be upset. So I'm going to take the 4. At least we're different. That's a plus side. That's why I wanted to write all this down. So I'm going to be watching it live to see who's actually winning or not. So we'll go to race 7. Grady, who do you got?
Now, you mentioned that Trevor Williams was the best trainer out there. I haven't gone with one of his horses yet, and I think that this is a race I'm going to go with one of his, the 6 being Buck Rogers. Is he'll also drive? You mentioned that this is his first year driving. So give him a shot, maybe for his first career driving win. This one looks like it only has 1 qualifier under its belt, but was able to cut the fractions in 2-7 and 2, 31 and 1 in the closing quarter. Not a bad start to it. Might be a little inexperienced, but you never know in a young field of horses. So I gave that one the shot.
Oh, yeah, you got a good point. Like I said, that's the tough thing about Trevor this year is because, normally when he trains, they're the horses to go for, but you never know with the guy. He's getting his first start. So, Cameron, who you got in this one?
I'm probably going to go to the 3, Al's Dragon Jack, out of Custard the Dragon. Not a horrible, I guess, way to look. Fastest qualifier out of the bunch. And I guess my concern is, why, if it's the fastest qualifier out of the bunch, he goes 2:06, why is he the 4-1 third choice? Kind of a thing that makes me wonder. I get the other 2, the 6 and the 1, won their qualifiers and did well, doing it. And I know I talk about suck along miles and things like that, but he did get the front. He cut a good, not a massive chunk of the mile, but cut an okay portion of the mile. And I just feel like he has a little bit of potential here. And the way I'm looking at this horse, I'm going off of the qualifier more than anything because the horses that came out of that were Philly, Jim Strikes It Rich, 2 horses that we talked about who we think can be pretty good on opening day. So the fact that he ran against those in that qualifier, that's an interesting one, I think. And another horse at a big price, if he had run closer, I would say pay attention to him to be safe, but it looks like he's just way too far behind. But if you're in the business of picking a long shot just for the sake of picking one and trying to find one, I wouldn't, necessarily look away from Inside Joke. Came out of the same qualifier as Baylor Out, who we've talked about being a very tough horse. it's just an interesting kind of long shot that might get there. This is a tough card to handicap because you don't have a lot to go on. So you got to kind of, just think about it from how would an owner or a trainer think. I would think both of those, as far as their connections, have to feel relatively confident heading into Saturday. Just because they probably do have a relatively fair shake in this one. I think they have a chance.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned number 4. I did a quick write up on the trainer, Paula Mason. She's pretty excited to get the season going. Do you want to talk about young people? Yeah, 24-year-old trainer out of Killarney. So that's her one horse this year. I think she's got a good chance. I did like the 6, but I also took the 1, AK Up and Adam. Like you said, it's really hard to handicap this. So I like the horse's time, finished in 30-3. That's a pretty good time for out here. Gets the inside post, and it's all going up against horses who haven't ran much. So I'm going to take the 1 in the race number 7. And we'll go to the finale of it, race number 8, Grady.
Race number 8, I think I like the 2, Bold and Sporty. Glenn LeDrew, you mentioned who you kind of remember, but I've watched old YouTube videos from horse racing out, from harness racing out west. And it seemed like he was kind of known as the better driver in Manitoba. But this Bold and Sporty horse, this mare by Sports Writer, I really like the Sports Writers, but showed some miles, raced up until December in the 75 claiming ranks out at Century Mile in Edmonton, and did pretty well. Had a win 3 down and 56-4. Looks like she came back, qualified well there, finished 3rd in 2, 3, and 4. Trainer Trevor Williams, hard to go against with a good post from post 2.
Sounds good. Cameron, what about you?
I have to agree with Grady on the 2. The 2 is going to have a shot. Definitely a little bit of a classier mare. 4 years old, was running against 75 condition claimers out at was at Century Mile. But I'm going to go ahead and go to the 1 horse. They came out of the same qualifier, and Flaming Blue Star actually beat Bold and Sporty by 2 lengths in that qualifier. Now, we know qualifiers, drivers aren't going to be going all out trying to get everything out of these horses. But once again, it's that same Baylor out qualifier. 203, nice mark, came home in 31-1. So came home 0.2 quicker than Bold and Sporty did. And you know what? I just think Bold and Sporty is going to be in a little bit. She is classy, and I'm going to use her on my tickets for sure. But I just think she might be in over her head a little bit against some of this group. Even if you look to the 3, who's not a bad horse, Apro
Apagaterra.
How do you say it?
Apagaterra.
Apagaterra looks all right, well beaten, so I can play against, well beaten the last 3 starts. I'm curious to see how he'll kind of come back out of that. But yeah, I think the 1 has a massive shot here. And one thing I looked at, guys, lifetime record, $78,000 on his card, but went 154 on a 5/8 track. Most of these horses, the only other 154 would be to the 3 horse, but that was on a mile. So I just think that there's a lot of potential in this horse. I think it's a little bit overlooked. I'm not too familiar with Christopher Brown as a driver. Maybe he's not looked at as a top tier driver out there, but I wouldn't put it past this horse to put up a big mile, and 6-1 morning line's fantastic value.
Yes, yeah. So I can't remember what it means, but the horse Apagaterra, it had something wrong with it where it was not even supposed to walk as a baby, and now it's racing. So I mean it has something to do with like Greek for something. They told me, can't remember, but you're right about Chris Brown. This is his only horse this year. And you want to talk about the qualifier again? Maybe I got lucky. He wanted to win that. He's got his only horse. He's trying to prove. You got Baylor out. You got these other guys. He tried so hard to win that one. He came flying around. I think he could have almost beat Baylor out. I think this horse should be in the open instead of the mare they put in there. So I have number 1, Flaming Blue Star as well. But I also I'm going to put Bold and Sporty on my ticket for sure. Yeah. Great. This always goes so quicker than I think it's going to. It was a hassle getting it set up, but we got it through.
Oh yeah, well, it's a good card. I mean, I'm going to be betting it for sure. I do recommend. I can't obviously being in the States. I won't have a way to wager. I'm going to have to wager through you, so I'll definitely be playing a couple dollars out that way this weekend, and it's not a bad card and definitely worth everybody's support because without these tracks, and I get the purse money isn't fantastic. It's not, they're going for $2,000, $1,700. But it means a lot to the industry because these are the kind of races where guys like me who are down in the States, we watch these. We look for these 2-year-olds who maybe, need another year or so, or we see how they're doing out there. Because a lot of these races to us are necessarily, yes, it's purse money involved for these guys, but it's kind of like out at the Maritime tracks. It's like, paid qualifiers for us to see a horse with our eyes before we go ahead and drop money and not just see in the qualifier or just in a training mile. So it's really good. And it's something that I think a lot of people need to support because it's a big part of the industry that people don't really understand unless they look at it,
Yeah, sure. The horse that you go first, Grady.
Only bad part about it looks like it's going to be a really good betting card, and that's what I hate most about still being a teenager is not being allowed to bet.
You'll get there one day.
Yeah, I'm sure you can just slip some money to your parents or something.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, I don't condone this.
I have ways.
Yeah.
I don't condone this, Grady, but when I was 15, 16 years old, I'd take a bunch of my friends who were a couple years older than me in high school. They were already 18. And I'd say, hey, guys, let's go to the Meadows. Let's go bet. When we run out to the Meadows, I'd sneak in there and I'd bet, do my thing. And, I don't think anybody ever suspected me. But, man, I tell you what, I was probably the youngest guy in there by 30 years at least, maybe more. And that was terrifying to me, but also so fun. And that is one of the best parts about the game. Because in all reality, it's not, yes, is it illegal? Technically, yeah. But you can't beat it. I mean, it's the best sport on the planet.
Oh, yeah. This is the only good thing that pandemics came from is that I can wear a mask to a wagering window and no one know anything.
Exactly. See?
Yeah. So here in Manitoba, because it's a fair circuit, I've been going up to the betting booth at 5 because all I have to say is my grandma gave me a toonie or gave me $2. You know what I mean? And they're like, yeah.
There was an old guy in the grandstand that used to give a toonie every time and tell my dad to go put it in for me.
Right. So one time I got asked like, oh, you're not 18. And I might've been like 13. So all I did is I went over to the next booth because I knew the guy. So he he's like, oh, Trey, you're back. And I was like, yeah. And just made a bet. And then the woman that tried to ID me was like, but the way she goes. But yeah, the mention you mentioned earlier, Cam, about how the horses eventually go on. So last year's horse, the one that won our big, the Futurity, like the best Manitoba bred, Follow Your Nose. She was down in, I always say this wrong, Pompano in Florida. Pompano, there we go. I always say it wrong. Yeah, down in Florida. And she was getting thirds and seconds and stuff. So, things like that. The horses that come from the Maritimes, you always see them at Woodbine. You're here. You see horses here out at Century, Woodbine, sometimes in the States. There's a couple horses. There's one horse here, Marv the Rat, spent some time in Cal X, right? So, these horses do get around eventually.
A lot of horses from this area in the Maritimes, we've had a couple go on to make over 900,000 and have a record of 49 and some. So the Maritimes kind of like a development place because everyone around here, they kind of race them in the stake races, the local stake races at 2 and 3, and then they sell them for 30, 40 grand to people elsewhere to race them, and then start over.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one I would look at just as a potential buy. That horse, where is he at? Jimmy Strikes It Rich. I mean, I'm going to be watching him just to see how he does because honestly, I wouldn't mind having a non-winners of one out of Sunshine Beach and a Dragon Again mare. And I don't know how the dam's offspring are. I'll take a look at it, but this would be a horse I would seriously consider buying. A 3-year-old gelding that lightly raced, shows a couple of good qualifiers on a half-mile track that probably isn't like lightning quick. This is a nice little horse to maybe take a look at and maybe add to the barn. So, Trey, that might be what I need you to do is get in touch with Tara Eisman and see if they want to sell that horse. Actually, if you could do that
for sure. I'll talk to them.
See if they'd be interested after the meet. Tell them I'm interested in them.
Yeah, I'll walk around the barn. I'll find them after. Great. Thank you so much, guys. So yeah, make sure 3 p.m. Central. So I guess 4 for you on the bottom, 5 for you in the top.
Yeah.
All these time zones.
Yeah. It would be just after I get home from the races in St. John.
Right. Perfect. Yeah. They start at like 1 year time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. And Cam, you're always at the track. So you're going to.
I'm always there. I live there pretty much. They put a cot up for me in the OTB.
Yeah.
I just sleep overnight there.
Yeah, HPI, or you can always watch on YouTube. And yeah, Cam, I'm sure you'll send. I'll just get a random e-transfer from you one day.
I'm gonna definitely send you something to play. I'm gonna play this card. I like it.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Electric Aventus with the win. Tito Santana will hold on for first on the stretch. Follow your nose with a nose lead. Here comes Runaway Eris. Follow your nose will hold on.